Hello, everybody.
I'm your host, Tia.
And I'm your host, Koya. Welcome to the Wig Life podcast. For wig lovers and wearers navigating life.
Because it's not just wigs, it's life.
Let's get into the episode. All right. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of the Wig Life podcast. You guys, I'm excited to do these next two episodes. So me and Tia are both not only just YouTubers, but we are entrepreneurs. And with it being Black History Month and also next month, Women's History Month, we really wanted to share our entrepreneur journeys with you guys and talk about that a little bit, because we know in our audiences, you know, we have people who are wanting to start businesses, who have businesses, and I know I've always feel like hearing somebody's story is really, really inspiring. So if you are just now getting into the Wig Life podcast, I'm going to encourage you to go back to episode 2, where Tia shares her story of hair loss, her journey with alopecia. And so we know that is how you got into wearing wigs. But today, we want you to share with us about your wigs. TM Wigs. So what made you want to go from not just wearing and reviewing wigs on YouTube, but actually selling wigs?
Well, I mean, it's been a journey for sure. And so, when I first started my channel, I was actually a makeup channel. So I was doing makeup like over 40. I started my channel when I was 40. I actually had recently shared my first video. I first started this journey thinking I was going to go into more of the beauty space. And then when I started losing my hair and wanting to experiment with wigs, as I explained in that previous video, I won't go too much into it. But essentially, I started experimenting with wigs so that if I needed to wear them, like I had to and I didn't have a choice, I would already be comfortable. When I started wearing the wigs, people were asking me to post, so I was posting and doing reviews and things like that. And so when I did that, my channel started to grow more. So I pivoted. So I would say in general, my story is a story of pivoting. So I pivoted into the wigs. And so then that's when like my channel grew. I started to do wig coaching. So I was working my full-time job while doing this the whole time for several years. So I was already toying with the idea of quitting my job at some point to do YouTube full-time. And wig coaching full-time.
So I just want to stop you just for 1 minute, because wig coaching, I tell you this all the time, I think that is so amazing. And I think we're super blessed to live in a time that you can create these kind of jobs and create things that are very untraditional, but some things that people really, really need. Can you go into a little bit and share about exactly what you do with the wig coaching, what it is? Can you just unpack that for us?
Well, I'd say I actually am a trained certified coach and have been, it was about 9 months old when I started my training. So the reason I got into life coaching, I did life coaching and small business coaching. The reason I did that was because when I had my son, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had finished all but 1 year of college. And so I went to school for applied behavioral sciences, and so my goal was to work with kids, behavior modification, kids with autism, and things like that. So I was a year away from being able to actually work a job with my degree. I was a stay-at-home mom, and then I wanted to work something part-time. So it was like I didn't have my degree. So I couldn't go into my chosen field, but I needed to do something.
So you were like creating an opportunity for yourself. Really.
So I got certified by a woman. Her name's Rhonda Britton. I used to fly to Colorado, California. I would fly from the East Coast. I did 9 or 10 months of training. So I didn't just do like you can become, you don't have to actually technically be certified as a coach, but because I was already being trained as a therapist, having an extensive training and an actual certification was important to me. So I went through a very extensive training program. I actually got really involved with, I was then a mentor with her, with her people, we would do in-person workshops. So I would do like workshops like 4 times a year. I mean, hundreds of people.
That's great. You're the real deal. Because I have to say this is terrible, but I have to say this because there's so many people I feel like online or that like coaches that are not legit coaches. Like, I mean, I don't know too much about the woman, but she went viral with the whole vibrational low plate. Do you know about that? And it's just a hot mess. So Tia is a coach for real.
Like,
she has the experience
and there
is the training to back up,
well, there is
the training,
a specific way.
I mean, the field.
Like, some people think coaching is just like, oh, I'm just going to help you do your thing.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
Yeah.
And there is a very specific way of coaching. So, like, I get in the ditch with this because I am a trained therapist and I am a trained coach. Mm-hmm. There are things that I feel like some people who call themselves coaches are doing that really fall into the therapeutic realm and they should not be doing. Mm. And if you were an actual trained coach, you would refer that client out. Mm-hmm. Making it super simplistic. Coaching shouldn't be remedial, meaning you shouldn't be working on like issues from the past, or like, it's one thing about working through fears and things like that. But if somebody has a therapeutic issue, mm-hmm. any type of trauma, PTSD, anything like that, is not coaching. Coaching is action based. It mm-hmm. is from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. If you have a life coach, like, you can see a therapist for 10 years and still be working on really deep-seated issues, and it takes that long. Right. Not to say that you can't see a coach that long, but you shouldn't be working on the same issue with your life coach for like 10 years. Yeah. And if you are,
coaching ain't coaching if you're doing that.
No, you need therapy. But again, let's not get super in the ditch on that. But yes, I am an actual trained therapist. Yeah. And I'm a trained, certified coach. Mm-hmm. So I was doing that on the side so that I could stay home with my son mm-hmm. and still make money. So I was actually, most of my clients were actually out of California. Okay. So for that time, that was really new. Mm-hmm. Like, coaching on the West Coast has been around a lot longer than it has on the East Coast. Oh, okay. And so when I would say I was a life coach on the East Coast, people would be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so I was supposed to say, we've had that for a long time. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it was West Coast in general is a little bit more open. Yeah. And so I would get a lot of my clients because when I would go train in California or Colorado, I would meet people like on the plane or in the airport and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, that's how I would get my clients. And so all of it was on the phone. And again, that wasn't something that was done then. This was, my son's 18. So this was 17 years ago. Yeah. To have clients on the phone. Yeah. Was not normal.
It wasn't like it is now, for sure.
So I was already doing that. Then I got my degree, and then I, had my degree. Mm-hmm. But that was the reason initially I went into coaching, because it was still helping people. It was still mm-hmm. in the self-help. And again, there are very specific techniques if you are a coach to be mm-hmm. using. Mm-hmm. And so I was attracted to that based on that. So I've been that for a long time. Mm-hmm. When I started doing my channel, like, there was a lot of people doing wig reviews. I'm biracial. And so I've always sort of sat in the middle mm-hmm. between like people who were doing like affordable beauty supply store versus name brand. So from the beginning, I wanted a place where those things could converge. Mm-hmm. And the other thing at the time that I didn't see a lot of was coaching. So my channel has always been on like teaching stuff, not just reviewing. Yes. So my content has always been about 50-50 reviews, but then also like how to wash a wig, how to cut a wig, how to secure your wig, top 10 this, top 10. Like, I've mm-hmm. always done that coaching. I started leaning into it, and I've actually had some clients. So I started mm-hmm. doing one-on-one coaching with people. Okay. And then I kind of felt like for like my time, because I was still working. Yeah. I didn't feel like I was reaching enough people. Like, there wasn't enough, like I said, if I could do this full time XYZ, but I wasn't. Uh-huh. So then I created a course so that I could reach more people. Yes. Give them a little more attention and mm-hmm. actual steps and coaching without having it to be me one-on-one. Okay. Because at that time, again, I was still working. Yeah. Then the whole great resignation came. So me being a retailer, it's funny because I have a friend who does like tarot, and her stuff is really around empowerment. She's mm-hmm. really big on like women's really wanted to help women build businesses.
Yes.
But she does a lot of like tarot readings.
Okay.
And I was just not in a great place in my job. Her and I met and she had already left the place that I was working at.
Okay.
And so we were talking about like, just, this sucks about this, that, and the other. You know how you commiserate.
Yes.
She let me do a reading with her. And the reading, at the time, I just like wasn't feeling what it said. I'm like, yeah, this isn't it. But it basically said that I was supposed to be doing something where I was teaching and reaching people where they were at in a way that they needed. But that teaching, coaching, education of some sort was supposed to be what I was doing.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And then she also said that she saw me owning some type of retail store. And I'm like, well, that's not it.
That don't resonate with me.
I owned a handmade jewelry business before, but I actually did own a store with a friend of mine.
Okay.
When Avery was about 5. We called it the Copper Owl, and it was a little boutique in a farmer's market where basically, like, say you did crocheting, and you maybe had 20 things that you crocheted. You were just, like, doing crocheting. Like, you kind of wanted to see, like, is this something or not? But you weren't going to, like, get your own store or get it Etsy or whatever. So, basically, we would consign a whole bunch of different people, and these were always needed to be unique and handmade goods.
Okay.
So, people who were there were some really awesome, like we had people who were making like tables out of those like vintage suitcases, those.
Oh yeah.
Making tables out of them, just like really cool stuff. So we would bring it in. We had the store, so we did, there'd be things different all the time because we would get new people who we were consigning, or they would do new things. And then, it was consigning, so we would take a percentage. They would get a percentage, but then, we had the store and everything, and it was called the Copper Owl. I liked that, but again, that was another situation where she was working full-time and so was I, and it just became too much at that time, and we ended up shutting the Copper Owl down.
Okay.
So I was already like, no, not doing retail, because I had already
had that experience.
Yeah, and I loved it, and I was like, again, if it was something I could do full-time, that's different, but like working a job, and at that time I was still at my job, so I'm like, I was like, I don't know which cards you're dealing, but it ain't my cards. And I remember being very adamant about I don't want to sell wigs.
Yeah.
So then this would have been April. I started doing live wig sales. And some of it was like wigs I had reviewed or wigs that I had customized. And it started really like getting traction. And I was like, well, this is cool.
Yeah.
For people who like maybe wanted to try an affordable wig, but like, they come with lace attached, they come with all that.
Right.
It was intimidating. I was doing all that. So I was cutting the lace for them already.
Now you were doing this as you were selling the wigs, not right? Or was this a part of the coaching?
No, this was
you selling the wigs.
I was doing that when I was selling the wigs. Some of my coaching clients, that was a big thing. Like, I don't know how to cut lace. Like, I don't know how to pluck the part.
Okay.
So, I was selling wigs, first of all, that I was reviewing, which I was only, when you're a reviewer, sometimes you only wear it like literally for that review.
Yeah, for the review, yeah.
So lace was already cut. If it needed to be plucked, I had already done that. So it's basically like I already customized it for you. You can get this wig and then just put it on and you're ready to go.
Right.
So that's what I was starting with.
Okay.
And then, the Great Resignation happened.
Yes.
A bunch of stuff happened at my job. And I got into a situation where I was like, I'm leaving. I felt uncomfortable and I wanted to leave. And so I just quit. I did give a 4-week notice, but I was like, I quit.
Okay.
I had no plan. I had no savings to do this.
Wow.
So I had 4 weeks to figure out how I was going to make money.
Yeah.
And I had planned to, again, do YouTube full time and then the wig coaching, but it was going to be when my son graduated. So my son graduates this year.
Okay.
So this was, 23? So this was April of 2022.
Okay.
So a full year before I was even thinking about doing it. And my partner and I, he had just started a new career. So we weren't in that position to be like, oh, I'm just going to quit my job and start but I did.
Yeah.
And I don't suggest you just up and quit your job to do like to do the thing you want to do.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily regret it.
Yeah.
But it has caused a lot of stress and a lot of sleepless nights because I wasn't prepared at all. Mm-hmm. Do I think you need to have like jillions in the bank? No.
Right.
But I think ideally a plan is better than just up and quitting.
Sure.
But to be honest, on the other side of that, sometimes we only do things because we are forced to do them.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, if you want to get another job and you just put your notice in, like, then you have to get another job.
Sometimes you have to be forced into action or movement.
I don't know that, I kind of feel both ways.
Sure.
Like, have a plan, but then if you don't, get a plan quick.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I got a plan quick. So I was like, okay, well, I've already started doing this wig selling thing. Let me try to do that. Mm-hmm. And there was a bunch of people who, they would buy, like, sort of these affordable wigs or, and, they do what's called white labeling, meaning they just take the label out and do all these different things. Mm-hmm. I had some feelings about that.
Okay.
So for me, when I was going to retail at first, I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I specifically purchased wigs that were discontinued, that were older. Because a lot of times I think in general, and people will say this, well, it's an older wig, like I can just find that and buy that. You can, but you don't. Because when you go on the different sites or whatever,
they're hard to find.
Not only that, they're in the clearance. And you're like, why? Like, this is old. I don't want this. Or sometimes when they're older, like, they don't have the same features they used to. So they do need something. Mm-hmm. So I basically would buy the wigs, customize them. Sometimes I'd have to really redo them. Mm. Sometimes I was just buying sort of like, I did have a couple people that I was buying for vendors, and they would say, like, they would have wigs that they had in their warehouse, maybe years.
Oh, wow.
That, like, another company had purchased, maybe they went out of business or they discontinued that. Like, some of them didn't have labels on them. Like, I could maybe tell who they were, but I wasn't sure. And sometimes with some of my vendors, I was really going in blind.
Okay.
They'd be like, I have 5 that are brown, 5 that are blonde, 2 that are curly, 1 that is straight. Like, and so I was sort of taking that risk of
just taking all of them.
Yeah, I'll buy them in bulk. And for the most part, I knew, like, some of them I might actually have to, like, do something to, because I didn't know what they were going to be a lot of times. Wow. Or they would give me a picture, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of times they'd give me a picture, and I don't know if they were, like, playing games, but I'm like, that's not the wig. You know what I mean? But I, for the most part, made it work.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Once I quit my job, I was like, this is now my full-time thing. So I quit my job, but a person from my job in another department was like, we don't want to see you go. I have a part-time position open. It's 10 hours a week. Would you even she didn't even think I would be interested in something like that.
Okay.
I thought, you know what, this is perfect. I can work 10 hours a week, get enough money to pay my bills, like my actual bills.
Yeah.
And then, like,
focus on your business.
Yeah. Life is still, like, I still have to make the money to, like, live my life, but I don't have the full weight. I still have a little cushion.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best scenario. If you sort of just, like, up and quit, at least get something like part-time.
Yeah.
Just so your basic rent, car payment, like, that stuff is at least covered.
You know that. Yeah.
So that you're not completely, because it's scary.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So then once I started to do that and I was doing the sales, I thought, well, let me try to get some contracts to do, like, retailing for some of the name brand wigs. I didn't think I would be able to do it. When I was considering doing it, I actually got a call from Tressalore. They contacted me.
Oh, wow.
And said, hey, we've been watching your live sales. We've been watching your channel. We want to expand into different people that retail for us, not just like boutiques or like, wigs.com or these bigger. We want to try to do something a little bit different. And basically they're like, we're going to experiment. Would you want to retail for us? And so I wasn't even thinking to go that route.
Yeah.
I was actually considering maybe, like, purchasing, like, from overseas, doing
Going with a different vendor.
which is not, it's a very complicated thing to, you would think like, oh, I just want to be like, I want to be a retailer. Like, let me just find these wholesalers. It's like this underground,
it's a
unspoken
whole process.
Yeah, people, it's not just easy. No matter, wigs or not, but it's not just easy to be like, I'm going to start a retail and like find wholesalers. And sometimes you're not even sure if it's legit or not until you start working with them.
Right.
And so it's a whole thing. It really is.
So how did you go? Well, you said they reached out to you.
So Tresselor reached out to me.
But you sell more than just Tresselor. So how did you go
So I started with Tresselor.
Okay.
And my sales rep is so awesome. Mm-hmm. And she really sort of took me under her wing. Mm-hmm. And she's actually going to be on the podcast at some point. Her name's Deborah. She's awesome.
Yeah.
So she helped me a lot to understand and sort of figure out. She explained different companies. She explained wholesaling. She explained and you know, in most cases, companies are not going to do that. They're not going to teach you how to do the thing. Right. They want you to come to them and be like, I've done the research and I know.
Right. I was going to say, they want you to come with the boxes checked.
And that's kind of how, then going back to my friend and the whole tarot thing, mm-hmm. that was in the cards that I was supposed to do. I don't think I would have done it on my own or been able to do it on my own. Mm-hmm. But the fact that literally I got this message from this woman who called me and was like, hey, not sure if you'd be interested. At first, I thought it was like a phishing. At first, like a scam.
Yeah.
Like, hey, call us. We have a retail opportunity for you. I'm like, okay.
No.
Because that happens.
Yeah. A lot, especially when you do YouTube stuff.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So if it had not been for Deborah, I would not be doing this. Wow. Like, she literally started that. She explained a lot. There was a learning curve. So she helped me so much. Mm-hmm. So once I started doing stuff for Tresselor and getting comfortable, I was like, what if I could get more brands?
Yeah.
And you have to apply and you have to go through a whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I really did not think I would get accepted. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, I applied for Hair You Wear, mm-hmm. and they just never responded. So I was like, okay, this is just not meant to be. So I applied to another company and I thought, well, you know what? Let me just shoot Hair You Wear an email. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I messaged them on Instagram.
Okay.
I messaged them on Instagram and I was like, hey, I applied, and you know, if you know, if I'm not, you know, if I'm not a good fit, you know, because they have to make money too.
Right.
I understand. And the person got back to me. Mm. Somebody emailed me and she's like, oh my gosh, we had a problem with our system on the website when you would apply. She's like, for some reason, the replies were going to our spam and we didn't know it.
Oh, wow.
So she's like, we didn't see it until someone was like, hey, this person said that they applied. Yeah. And she happened to be originally from the area that I was living in. Mm-hmm. It was just the weirdest thing. Oh, so we chatted and she's like, yeah, we just didn't see it. So mm-hmm, had you not messaged on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So that's a tip too. Sometimes maybe it is they're not interested, but sometimes you do have to follow up.
Follow up, yeah.
Because sometimes people just get so many messages
they're bombarded,
that they just miss it, or somebody dropped the ball, or somebody didn't see it, or it went to spam.
Right.
So that week, I got Hair You Wear, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put the feelers out, and I was able to get Hair You Wear, which is, well, I already had Tresselor, which is. Hair Visions is the parent company, so that's Tresselor, Gemtress, and they also have On Right, and On Right is their like human hair. Mm-hmm. I don't specialize in human hair. Not, I mean, I technically am a retailer for them, but like I don't have that on my website or anything. And then I got Hair You Wear, which was Gabor, Raquel Welch, him, Kids, Tony Bratton, Hairdo. And then the Hairdo Pop, the synthetic accessories. Mm-hmm. I got them. And then in the same week, I got Renee Paris.
Wow.
Renee Paris also, so the Renee Paris is Adirans, and they have Renee Paris, they have Amore, and they have Noriko. Mm-hmm. Renee Paris, you get like a sales associate or a sales consultant that is like works with you directly.
Yeah.
Again, my sales consultant from Renee Paris has definitely taken me under her wing, taught me a lot of things, has supported me, has helped me out to be successful. Like, she's invested in me, and like, she really is like, I want your business to be successful.
Yeah.
And so I would say, like, my experience with my sales associate from, I think they call him actually a sales consultant, business consultant.
Yeah.
From both Renee Paris and from Tressalor really made this possible for me. Yeah. I mean, they really, you know, we're going to be talking about like women's history and people that like we respect. Well, we're going to be talking about that in another episode.
Yeah.
These women really did take a chance on me.
Yeah.
And have made me able to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I would have gotten somebody else, I don't know that I would have been either accepted or accepted, meaning being a licensed retailer for them. Because they would have been like, this girl's just starting. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah.
But I also would have made a ton of mistakes. I mean, they really were like, okay, hey, you need to do this, not that. Just helping me out, like really explaining how the whole system wholesale works. Retail. There's a lot of rules too. Like when you retail for other people, there's a lot of rules.
Yeah.
A lot of their stuff is trademarked. You know that with your business.
Yeah.
Copywritten, trademarked. There's things you can do. There's things you can't do.
Yeah.
And they've really been more of like mentors. And explaining that when they didn't have to do that. They could just be like, you're not ready.
So what would you say to someone who may be listening to this, who wants to maybe get into retailing and selling wigs? What would you, is there any advice you could leave them with, or something?
Like if I would look back on it, I would say before all that, no matter what journey you're on, especially if it's an entrepreneurial journey, is to always be planning, setting goals, doing that whole like the Q1, Q2. Like it sounds like even having an overall vision, mission, it really does help you to figure out where you want to go. And like you're going to get a lot of different opportunities. And I think there's two ways to think about that. Be open to the opportunities. Sometimes you're supposed to pivot. Sometimes you're supposed to be on this path.
Yeah.
And if you're too center focused, you could be missing opportunities.
Yeah.
But also, don't be afraid to be like, this isn't a good fit.
Yes.
And this doesn't fit my mission or my vision for where I want to go. For someone who would want to get into retailing, I would say have some money put aside. Like you do have to invest money into it. And if you can set some money aside, I would do that. Go through the process of making sure like you have your EIN, that you have an LLC. In my state, I needed a sales business license. I actually did a lot of that stuff backwards. Like these people, again, that mentored me were like, by the way, you need to be doing
ABC.
You need to be charging sales tax in your state. You need a business license. So they were like giving me the steps that I just really don't think a lot of people would give you.
Yeah.
They'd be like, you don't even have a business license.
Right.
We're not even interested because we can't actually work with you yet.
Right.
They'd be like, okay, pause on this application, go get X, Y, and Z, come back to me, and then we'll keep going. I'm in the process of getting Aesthetica, and they were the same way. They were like, you need this business license. It's not a no, just pause, go get this stuff. So I think that's kind of a unique experience, actually, where someone wouldn't be like, no, you're not ready. Fortunately, I think they saw the planning in the other things, and they were like, okay, she just needs a little help and she'll get there.
Yeah.
Not everybody might see your worth. Yeah. So don't, do the due diligence. Like you're saying, go to Google University if you need to.
Yeah.
Ask people who own businesses what they're doing. Be really sure you understand what's necessary in your state.
Yes. 100%. 100%, because it's different everywhere, and you need to know your laws in your state and how the business operates. So if someone wants to shop, where can they go to get your Get your wigs.
They can
Get your
go.
products.
They can go to my website, which is it's Tia Maria Wigs LLC, but the web address is tmwigs.com.
Yes.
You can go there to shop. I do carry all the brands I mentioned. Plus, I do carry the hair grip. Mm-hmm. I'm a retailer for the hair grip, which is just a small business, which we're going to be interviewing.
Yes. Yes. Stay tuned for that interview.
Yeah, she's the only hair grip currently on the market that comes in sizes. You know, you can sometimes get a wig grip, and it's like there's so much extra.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like fabric, and it can actually make it not fit as well.
Right.
So yeah, you can go online. I still do live sales, and so I have live sales usually every Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel, the Tia Maria Wig Coach YouTube channel, and also every other Saturday from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's where you're going to get a lot of like the sample sale deals, the clearance deals. So yes, you can go to the website, but if you join me for the live sales, I do often do like just flash sales where I'm like, okay, this is just 50% off. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll get a bunch of samples of wigs in. Maybe they retail for like $200. $300. I might only have 1 or 2 colors, but whatever I have in stock, in sample on that sale, maybe it's 50% off that day just for those two.
So catch you some deals, ladies.
Yes, if you want some deals, if you want to try out some name brand wigs, but you want to try to get it at some deals, or get, you know, the other good thing about the live sale is I try the wig on, you see the wig, you want me to turn around, you want to like clip it up, like you're going to get a fuller picture of it. It's not just like a little swatch.
Right. Then if you're just clicking on the website.
Yeah. Like in my last sale, I got a bunch that were in the Reds family. Mm-hmm. And based on the swatches, I was like, what in the world? When I got them, they were stunning. Mm-hmm. So the live sale is also a great way just to sort of check stuff out and actually see it on a live person moving around, turning around, seeing how it looks when you put your head down, like getting a bigger, fuller picture.
Yes.
Even if you don't decide to get like that specific wig in that color, I can order the wig for you in any color, but you can really get like a full picture.
Yes.
You know, for most places, retail shopping, you don't have that.
Yeah, especially online. You definitely don't have that. And also the Facebook group.
I do have a private Facebook group. It's called Tia Maria Wigs Hangout, where people post pictures of the wigs that they get from me. They also really support each other as a community. There's times when I go on there and I'm like, people have been posting all day, all night.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of like just fun stuff, like sharing pictures of like your cat or whatever. But like a lot of people will share like the way that they organize their wigs. If someone, we had people asking, like they were talking about like wanting to like date and they were wearing wigs. Mm-hmm. They were asking for advice. People were giving advice. So there's a lot of advice, just a lot of support in that group.
Yeah.
Outside of just the whole buying wigs.
Yeah.
If you're hesitant about buying certain wigs, this group, they will jump in and help you. They will give you advice. Yeah. It's a community.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that's an option too.
Yeah. So if you're looking for not only wigs or you need some coaching or you want to be a part of community, Tia has it. All, of course, we will have it all in the show links, in the show notes, excuse me. And then, of course, we'll have all the links in the description box if you're watching on YouTube. So I always tell you, Tia, I think it's so cool. You're like your whole story and just everything that you're doing. So proud to call you my friend. Yay. Amazing things, you guys. So stay tuned. Next episode, Tia's going to interview me about silky sacks. So if you're not familiar with silky sacks and know what that is, then please come back on Wednesday. We're going to unpack that and go into that. And then if you have any questions about entrepreneurship or just wigs or whatever, please send them forward. Again, Tia's links will be down in the description box in the show notes so that you can reach out to her if you'd like to personally. And that's it for this episode.
And don't miss next week's though, because Ikoya's story, I think it's really going to open your eyes about some things.
Oh, you're so
and just give a fuller picture about really what it takes to do these things.
Yeah.
It can be done.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily like how you might think when you see everybody, not just us, but anybody on YouTube or posting on Instagram. There's so much behind the scenes work and so much time put into it. I think, don't miss hers as well, because she's going to really open your eyes as to what it means to create your own thing, to get a patent, to do all those things. It's like the for real.
Crazy journey. Entrepreneur. What's that thing you said about entrepreneurs? What they jump off the hill and create the parachute on the way down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That is exactly, whoever wrote that. That is exactly what it is. So thank you as always for watching, and we will see you and listening. We will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. If you enjoyed the episode and you'd like to help support the Wig Life podcast, please subscribe and leave a rating or review wherever you like to listen.
To stay up to date with the Wig Life podcast, visit our website and follow us on socials everywhere at Wig Life Podcast. See you.